Hi, welcome. Thank you for joining. Shout out to Grace. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Genesis. Write your name in the chat if you want me to shout you out. Hi, KJ. Welcome. Shout out to KJ. Shout out to Hawa. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. KJ, I remember a little bit, I'll remember the names. Like, for example, if you join a lot of my live streams, I start to remember a little bit. Shout out to Mohammed. I'll start seeing like familiar names. Shout out to Carla. Shout out to Dora. Shout out to Bristol. Shout out to Hannah. Thank you, KJ. Shout out to Sammy. Shout out to Kermit. Hello everyone, welcome. Shout out to Sana. Shout out, oh, I'm so sorry, Dora. Delilah. I put Dora. Sorry. Shout out to Joey. Shout out to Sawyer. Hello everyone. Write your name in the chat if you want me to shout you out. Shout out to Damelia. Also leave a like if you like the live streams and the shout outs. I would truly appreciate your support. Shout out to Bryn. Shout out to Julian. Shout out to Paisley. Shout out to Jose. Shout out to Blake. Shout out to Evan. Shout out to, is it, I don't know if is it Alaya or Alaya? I'm so sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Knox. Shout out to Ari. Shout out to Mila Sani. Hello everyone, welcome. Write your name in the chat if you want me to shout you out. Also leave a like if you enjoy the shout outs. Shout out to Carter. Shout out to Justin. Shout out to Miley. Shout out to London. Shout out to Carolina. Shout out to Daryl. Shout out to Aviana. Shout out to Ellie. Shout out to Ozzy. Shout out to May. Shout out to Jocelyn. Shout out to Olivia Stewart. Thank you so much. Shout out to Olivia Stewart. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Paisley. Shout out to Layton. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Jaden. Shout out to Remy. Shout out to Jazani. Shout out to Sana, thank you. Shout out to Jillian. Shout out to Wesley, child of God. Thank you so much, Wesley. Thank you for your support, Wesley. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to, is it 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1, the king. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Jace. Shout out to Kumar Mahes. Thank you so much. Thank you for your support. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Kumar. Shout out to Lawson. Shout out to Aubrey. Shout out to Ryan. Shout out to Madeline. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Irina. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. Shout out to Aurora. Shout out to Brooklyn. Shout out to Shanella. Shout out to Javier. Shout out to Marley. Shout out to Jordan. Happy birthday. Shout out to Julia. Shout out to Benny's. Shout out to Faith. Shout out to Caitlin. Shout out to Kenzie. Shout out to Emil. Shout out to Everett. Shout out to Naomi. Shout out to Kylie. Shout out to Markellius. Shout out to Mackenzie. Shout out to Annalise. Shout out to Sayla. I'm so sorry. I don't know how to pronounce your name, so I'm so sorry. Shout out to Giovanni. Shout out to Will. Shout out to Logan. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Nino. Shout out to Avril. Shout out to Brayley. Shout out to Chanela, I got you. Shout out to Ivy. Shout out to Cairo. Shout out to Soria. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Blake. Shout out to Arabella. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Harnor. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Gavin. Shout out to Lena. Shout out to Pete. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Armani. Shout out to Drink Dude. Shout out to Shakuria. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Eliana. Shout out to Amir. Shout out to Damia. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Sydney. Shout out to Caleb. Shout out to Belle. Shout out to Valentina. Shout out to Myra. Shout out to Ashley. Shout out to Allie. Shout out to Almas. Shout out to Marissa. Shout out to Madison. Shout out to Santiago. Shout out to Oishi. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Maddie. Shout out to Nora. Shout out to Sandra. Shout out to Komila. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to these people. Please like and subscribe if you're enjoying the live stream. On to the next page. Thank you so much for being here. I live stream every day around the same time as this. I hope you can subscribe by supporting my channel. I also post other content. I hope you can check it out as well, especially on YouTube Shorts. I hope you can check out my channel. I'm NessDIYcorner. Shout out to Santos. Shout out to Santi. Shout out to Kaden. Shout out to Jasmine. Shout out to Belen. Shout out to Miracle. Shout out to Kaylani. Shout out to Ari. Shout out to Miraf. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Lexi. Shout out to Carson. Shout out to Easton. Shout out to Alejandra. Shout out to Aaliyah, or Alea. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Sybil. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Ariel. Shout out to Avery. Shout out to Giovanni. Shout out to Ari. Shout out to Ryan. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Andrea. Shout out to Kinsley. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Chelsea. Shout out to Marissa. Ryan, I got you. Shout out to Emma. Shout out to Cami. Excuse me. Shout out to Nada, or Nada. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Vereen. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Sophia. Shout out to Santiago. Shout out to Kinley. Shout out to Avery. Shout out to Addison. Shout out to Emma. Shout out to Kevin. Shout out to Heaven. Shout out to Raya, or Ria. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Paige. Shout out to, oh, I already put Ria. Shout out to Bentley. Shout out to Zadea. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Igor. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Ikaika. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Ryan. Shout out to Jackson. Shout out to Lizbeth. Shout out to Tadeo. Shout out to Finley. Shout out to Emerson. Shout out to Journey. Shout out to Amateur. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Kalia. Shout out to Shalea. Shout out to Dylan. Shout out to Rob. Shout out to Caleb. Shout out to Araya. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Adam. Shout out to Alexis. Shout out to Sadie. Shout out to Kingston. Shout out to Aaliyah. Shout out to Amatullah. Shout out to Axel. Shout out to Christabel. Shout out to Jacob. Shout out to Madison. Shout out to Elias. Shout out to Amia. Thank you for subscribing. Yeah, I put Adam. I got you. Shout out to AJ. Shout out to Kinley. Shout out to Adeline. Shout out to Mackenzie. Shout out to Ben. Shout out to Beeline. Shout out to Kaya or Kaya. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Nora. Shout out to Juliet. Shout out to Leanna. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Denelise. I'm so sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Maribel. Shout out to Leo. Shout out to DJ. Shout out to Francis. Shout out to Callie or Collie. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. Shout out to Nawed. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Nora. Shout out to Johnny G. Shout out to Dylan. Shout out to Aria. Shout out to Ileana. Shout out to Eliza or Elisa. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Thanos. Shout out to Abby. Shout out to Natasha. Shout out to Mia. Shout out to Natalie. Shout out to Miracle. Shout out to Thomas. Shout out to Isaiah. Shout out to Kailis or Kylis. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Maya. Shout out to Izzy. Shout out to Carolina. Shout out to Carol Siana. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Easton. I'm so sorry if I haven't gotten to you. Thank you for your patience. Shout out to Kellen. Shout out to Carla. Shout out to Anave. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Sophia. Shout out to Juan. Shout out to Bob. Shout out to Makela. I'm so sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to these people. On to the next page. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. Also, thank you for your patience for writing your name. I know I don't write the fastest, so thank you for taking the time to write your name. I truly appreciate it. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Kainari. Shout out to Logan. Shout out to Bailey. Shout out to Lexi. Shout out to Harley. Shout out to Ismi. Shout out to, is it Shay Shay? I'm so sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Deborah. Shout out to Chad Milton. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Chad Milton. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Iris. Shout out to AJ. Shout out to Nitty. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to HB. Shout out to Easton. Shout out to Sloan. Deborah, I got you. Shout out to Grayson. Shout out to Emma. Shout out to Ailani. Or Ailani, sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Norak. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Waylon. Shout out to Penny. Shout out to Jordan. Shout out to Scarlett. Shout out to Adam Hero. Thank you so much. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Adam Hero. Shout out to Diego. Shout out to Rushana. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Miriam. Shout out to Mia. Deborah, I got you. You're right here. Shout out to Mia. Shout out to Jennifer. Shout out to Serenity. Shout out to Samantha. Shout out to Natalie. Shout out to Nora. Shout out to Sebas. Shout out to Emila. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Laura. Shout out to Safina. Shout out to Keenan. Shout out to Isla. Shout out to Murjan. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Alicia or Alicia. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Marion. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Skylar. Shout out to Logan. Shout out to Nino. Shout out to Ali. Shout out to Naomi. Shout out to Sophia. Shout out to Lupe. Shout out to Culpa. Shout out to Daisy. Shout out to Nora Culpa. Shout out to Veronica. Shout out to Bristol. Shout out to Kinsley. Shout out to Tobias. Shout out to Samantha. Shout out to Christy. Shout out to Miriam. Shout out to Sadie. Shout out to Kaya. Shout out to Cruz. Shout out to Samantha. Oh, we already put Samantha. Shout out to Carter. Shout out to Cassie. Shout out to Yahira. Shout out to Alexia. Shout out to Caitlin. Shout out to Savannah. Shout out to Kaylee. Shout out to Everest. Shout out to Sophia. Shout out to Bella. Shout out to Analia. Shout out to Mia. Shout out to Jax. Shout out to Jada. Shout out to Kadia. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Fernanda. Shout out to Lainey. Happy birthday. Shout out to Rebecca. Shout out to Rachel. Shout out to Deborah. Shout out to Ella. Please like and subscribe if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Adeline. Shout out to Blakely. Shout out to Audrey. Shout out to Bradley. Shout out to Blake. Shout out to Santi. Shout out to Brady. Shout out to Symphony. Shout out to Leah. Shout out to Ariella. Shout out to Riley. Shout out to Sasha. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Stitch. Shout out to Oscaries. I'm so sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Bella. Shout out to Edits by Sage. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Edits by Sage. Shout out to Elena. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Amina. Shout out to Quinn. Shout out to Phoenix. Shout out to Jackson. Shout out to Salish. Shout out to Aurora. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Hazel. Shout out to Sammy. Shout out to Aurora. Shout out to Max. Shout out to Hopefully. Shout out to these people. On to the next page. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy the live stream. I live stream every day around the same time as this. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. Also, thank you for your patience. I know I don't write the fastest, so I appreciate you taking the time to write your name. Thank you, thank you. Shout out to Alice. Shout out to Mike. Shout out to Montoya. Shout out to Alexis. Shout out to Leah. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Luna. Shout out to Sotelo. Shout out to William. Shout out to Callie. Shout out to, oh, I messed up, Mika with the E over here. There we go. Shout out to Valexia. Thank you for subscribing. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Mac. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Kalia. Shout out to John. Shout out to Mika or Micah. Shout out to, is it Evely? What was it? Evely? Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to McKinley. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Mila or Mila. Shout out to Manny. Shout out to Zua. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Max. Shout out to Logan. Shout out to Clara. Shout out to Zoe. Shout out to Jaina. Shout out to Jerry. Shout out to Gabe. Shout out to Allison. Shout out to Miko. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Augustina. Shout out to Alma. Shout out to Leah. Shout out to Emma. Shout out to Kaoli. Shout out to Sky. Shout out to Aaliyah. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Bella. Shout out to Mia. Shout out to Bella. Shout out to Regina. Shout out to Malexia. Thank you for your patience. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Amy. Shout out to Raven. Shout out to Rhett. Shout out to Jody. Shout out to, excuse me, Vivian. Shout out to Raylan. Shout out to Morena. Shout out to Jillian. Shout out to Iris. Shout out to Royal. Shout out to Layla. Shout out to Kylina. Shout out to Jameson. Shout out to Emily. Shout out to Mackenzie. Shout out to Leslie. Write your name in the chat if you want me to shout you out. Shout out to Alicia. Shout out to Cami. Shout out to Elisa. Oops. Elisa Bella. Shout out to Angela. Shout out to Jordan. Shout out to River. Thank you so much. Thank you for your support. Shout out to River. Shout out to Marima. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Sanvi. Shout out to Brooklyn. Shout out to Ava. Shout out to Clara. Shout out to Galatita. Shout out to Carolina. Shout out to Brielle. Shout out to Jackson. Shout out to Violi. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Devaney. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Valentina. Shout out to Rolando. Shout out to Jessica. Shout out to Maria. Shout out to Sarah. Shout out to Agatha. Shout out to Ava. Shout out to Catalina. Shout out to Summer. Shout out to Paige. Shout out to Luke. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to David. Shout out to Damaris. Shout out to Shayton Miller. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Shayden Miller. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Amber. Shout out to Zanat. Shout out to JC. Shout out to Avery. Shout out to Brooke. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Yaya. I'm so sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Amelia. Shout out to Ian. Shout out to Rosabella. Shout out to Lionel. Shout out to Luna. Shout out to Senile. I'm so sorry if I mispronounce your name. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Senile. Shout out to Lainey. Shout out to Joran. Shout out to Jonathan. Shout out to Cole. Shout out to Hampton. Shout out to Juliet. Shout out to Senile, thank you so much. Thank you for your support. I truly appreciate it. And I'm so sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. Shout out to Nera. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Rokia. Thank you so much. Thank you for your support. I'm so sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Rokia. Shout out to Jaylene. Shout out to Neon. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Anthony. Shout out to these people. On to the next page. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy the live stream. I live stream every day around the same time as this. Also check out my channel. I post other content on YouTube Shorts. I hope you can check it out as well. My name's Ness from NessDIYcorner. I hope you can check out my channel. Shout out to Molly. Shout out to Azur. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Peyton. Shout out to Miguelina. Shout out to Lulu. Shout out to Malik. Shout out to Gianna. Shout out to Carter. Shout out to Lily. Shout out to Manny. Shout out to Millie. Shout out to Jasenia. Shout out to, what is it, Jen? I'm so sorry. Sometimes the live stream goes fast. Shout out to Sammy. Shout out to Eileen. Shout out to Azer. Sorry, oopsie, I messed up. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Rocio. Shout out to Jocelyn. Or Jacqueline. Sorry, Jacqueline. Jacqueline. Shout out to Trista. Shout out to Daylin. Shout out to Josie. Shout out to Bella. Shout out to Adley. Shout out to Lene. Shout out to Kaden. Shout out to Jennifer. Shout out to Jade. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Olivia. Shout out to Lisa. Shout out to Ricardo. Shout out to Jaden. Shout out to Isabella. Shout out to Jimena. Shout out to Nicole. Shout out to Davion. Shout out to Talia. Shout out to Grace. Thank you so much. Shout out to Samira. Shout out to Zyla. Was it Zyla? Yes. Shout out to Annie. Shout out to Zoe. Shout out to Miguelito. Shout out to Jenny. Shout out to Maya. Shout out to Caitlin. Shout out to Zion. Shout out to Roger. Shout out to Sabrina. Shout out to Jack. Shout out to Danny. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Guy. Shout out to Zoe. Shout out to Maria. Shout out to Cassie. Shout out to Max. Shout out to Matthew. Shout out to Adley. Thank you for subscribing and thank you for your support. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Allie. Shout out to Jada. Shout out to Fineda. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Natalie. Shout out to Katie. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Corey. Shout out to Eduardo. Shout out to Hope. Shout out to Cassidy. Shout out to Daniela. Shout out to Emily. Please like and subscribe if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. Shout out to Annabelle. Shout out to Aurora. Shout out to Brooklyn. Shout out to Uwu. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Mayhew. Shout out to Lexi. Shout out to Anila. Shout out to Mikey. Shout out to Dominic. Shout out to Miriam. Shout out to Brienne. Shout out to Kiosha. Shout out to Valerie. Shout out to Zane. Whoopsie, Zane. Shout out to Maxine. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. Shout out to Claire. Shout out to Diamond. Shout out to Peyton. Shout out to Marilyn. Happy birthday. Shout out to Finn Wolfhard. Shout out to Ailani. Shout out to Liam. Shout out to Kentucky. Shout out to Ashley. Shout out to Eliana. Shout out to Addison. Shout out to Amir. Shout out to Layla. Shout out to Miara. Shout out to Sana. Shout out to Hayden. Shout out to Francesca. Shout out to Sky. Shout out to Nidhi. Shout out to Ledger. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Riker. Shout out to Mitsuri Kanroji. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Delilah. Shout out to Mia. Shout out to Nyla. Shout out to Blake. Shout out to Jonathan. Shout out to these people. On to the next page. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy the live stream. Your support means the world to me, so thank you for being here. Also, thank you for your patience. I know I don't write the fastest, so thank you for taking the time to write your name. Shout out to Debani. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Alanis. Shout out to Ellie. Shout out to Ava. Shout out to Nora. Shout out to Jada. Shout out to Ivan. Shout out to Hadley. Shout out to Nova. Shout out to Jason. Shout out to Giselle. Shout out to Emily. Shout out to Juliana. Shout out to Ruth. Shout out to Delasha. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Kiosha. Shout out to Alexa. Shout out to Terry. Shout out to Kyrie. Shout out to Valentina. Shout out to Liberty. Shout out to Macy. Shout out to Lincoln. Shout out to Vanessa. Shout out to Adam. Shout out to Rosie. Shout out to Sarah. Shout out to Adley. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Sadie. Shout out to Noah. Shout out to William. Shout out to AJ. Shout out to Mikey. Shout out to Kalki. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Amia or Amaya. Shout out to Courtney. Shout out to Lennon. Shout out to Maria. Shout out to Kat. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Rocky. Shout out to Sare. I'm so sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Marcos. Shout out to Sky. Shout out to Alessandro. Shout out to Shy. Shout out to Addie. Shout out to Jael. Shout out to Elliot. Shout out to Allison. Shout out to Remy. Shout out to Shama or Shama. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Elena. Shout out to Cassidy. Give me a few seconds, I'm gonna drink water. Thank you for your patience. Shout out to Germany. Shout out to Jasmine. Shout out to Aston. Shout out to Albandina. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Harrison. Shout out to Remington. Shout out to Hannah. Shout out to Danny. Shout out to Alexander. Shout out to Kaylee. Whoops, that was Kaylee. Oh, with the K. There's also another Kaylee with the C. There we go. Shout out to Camila. Shout out to Regina. Shout out to Harley. I'm gonna write Regina again because I kind of messed up. There we go. Shout out to Ivy. Shout out to Simon. Shout out to Justice. No, whoopsie. Justin. There we go. Shout out to Penelope. Shout out to Sigma. Shout out to Jaxiel. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Adelaide. Shout out to Lovins. Shout out to Angie. Shout out to Lola. Shout out to Alan. Whoopsie. Shout out to Stevie. Shout out to Kaylani. Shout out to JC. Shout out to Uwu. Shout out to Adarsh. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Eddie. Shout out to Gabriel. Shout out to, is it Athelia? Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Happy birthday. Shout out to Perla. Shout out to Titus. Shout out to Kobe. Shout out to Elizabeth. Shout out to Alex. Shout out to Miriam. Shout out to Jules. Shout out to Anna. Shout out to Michaela. Shout out to Danny. Shout out to Whitland. Is it Whitland with 2 N's? Oh yeah, it is. Shout out to 11. Shout out to Moeen. Or Moen. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Soon Min. Shout out to Nora. Shout out to Megan. Shout out to Perla. Shout out to Zoe. Shout out to DeAndre. Shout out to Annie. Shout out to Olivia. Shout out to Kaden. Shout out to Asher. Shout out to NessDIYcorner Gamer. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to NessDIYcorner Gamer. Thank you for your support. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. On to the next page. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy the live stream. I do shout outs every day around the same time as this. I also post other content. I hope you can check it out as well. Shout out to Jada. Shout out to Bang Chan. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Felix. Shout out to Danny. Shout out to Hazal. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Charlie. Shout out to Sophia. Shout out to Gianna. Shout out to Kimberly. Shout out to Melina. Shout out to Vonnie. Shout out to Cody. Shout out to Shosky. Whoops, I messed up. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Ciara. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Riley. Shout out to Samantha. Shout out to Akila. Shout out to Heaven. Shout out to Lucas. Shout out to Mia. Shout out to Aria. Shout out to Maya. Shout out to Laura. Shout out to Jamia. Or Jamia. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to Bryant. Shout out to Allie. Shout out to Colton. Shout out to Rosalind. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Maura. Shout out to Imani. Shout out to Jules. Shout out to Austin. Shout out to Yara. Shout out to Shania. Shout out to Mima. Shout out to Lucy. Shout out to Anias. Or Anias. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Irani. Shout out to Aurora. Shout out to Dale. Shout out to Zoe. Shout out to Tanner. Shout out to Warren. Shout out to Maylin. Shout out to Zanaya. Zanaya. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Amari. Shout out to Amy. Shout out to Justin. Shout out to Isabella. Shout out to Macy. Shout out to Brooklyn. Shout out to Farida. Shout out to Esther. Shout out to Summer. Shout out to Virat. Shout out to Valerie. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Zuri. Shout out to Mylexia. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Olga. Shout out to Dahlia. Shout out to Katiana. Shout out to Victoria. Shout out to Kyrie. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Jody or Judy. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Lainey. Shout out to Nolan. Happy birthday. Shout out to Lisa. Shout out to Aubrey. Shout out to Jimena. Shout out to Cambria. Shout out to Peyton. Shout out to Jordan. Shout out to Alyssa. Shout out to Mireya. Shout out to Alicia or Alicia. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Shout out to Naraya. Shout out to Annabelle. Shout out to Alonso. Shout out to Lisali. Shout out to Emiliano. Leave a like if you're enjoying the live stream. Shout out to Nelly. Shout out to Kelani. $20.26. Shout out to Aurora. Shout out to Noelle. Shout out to Elijah. Shout out to Natalia. Shout out to Super Galaxy World. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Shout out to Super Galaxy World. Shout out to Desmond. Shout out to Sailor. Shout out to Elena. Happy birthday. Shout out to Alani. Shout out to Kimberly. Shout out to Oscar. Shout out to Lena. Shout out to Sarah. Shout out to Heather. Shout out to Wesley. Shout out to Shelby. Shout out to Nyla. Shout out to Anna. Shout out to Raven. Shout out to Savannah. Shout out to Sandra. Shout out to Mia. Shout out to Kennedy. Shout out to Scarlett. Shout out to Timmy. Shout out to Tina. Shout out to David. Shout out to Jasmine. Shout out to Aubrey. Happy birthday. Shout out to Myra. Shout out to these people. Thank you so much for being here. I live stream every day around the same time as this. I hope you can subscribe if you like my shout outs. I also post other content. I hope you can check it out as well. Thank you so much for being here. I will see you all next time. Take care. Bye.